Hello, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Sri. How are you?
I'm, I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, doing well. Nice to
Okay.
see you today.
Yes, ma'am?
Nice to see you today.
Yeah.
Is my voice audible?
Yes, it's audible. Same here, ma'am. Chatting on Instagram, that is something different, and uh, talking face to face is something different.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
welcome to the live show. I really congratulate ma'am for all the books. They are really amazing. And
Thank you.
so I wanted to know more about them. So let's start. So, ma'am, do you want to say anything before my questions come to you?
No, I'm also I'm looking forward to this. I want to know what is in the young minds who read my books. So actually, this is an adventure for me to see
Yes,
what you
true.
feel.
Yes, true. Because as rightly said, that students or the youngsters nowadays, they are looking forward for some very interesting books, not only by the cover page or not only by what is written there, but they see the silences of the book, which the books don't say. So they want to read between the lines what the author really wanted to say, what is not portrayed, but what you want to say or what other writers want to say. So yeah, I think many have joined. I'm very happy for that. So it's congratulations to both of us. So so hello everyone, welcome to my live session. I wholehearted welcome my Mrs. Radhika, who has recently written three amazing books. In a very short span of time, these books achieved great success on several platforms. Now, I would like to request Mrs. Radhika to say a few words.
Uh, what I would like to say is, see, very few people are actually interested in reading nowadays, and picking up a storybook or a paperback and reading it itself is a motivation. You know, you should have a motivation to do it. So always, I would like to say that the more you read, the more you learn. So reading is a very nice habit, and I'm very happy today to share my thoughts with you all. Not only in the form of stories, as I have said, but there are so many messages which I like to convey through my stories, and I'm happy I got a platform like this where I can share what I wanted to say directly with the readers and with youngsters like you and all those who are watching.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So, my first question to you is, why did you choose the title A Canopy of Carnations?
See, I was always fascinated by carnations. Uh, they look like, I used to always feel from young that they look like pencil sharpens. And you have so much of variety, so much of colors. See, some of those flowers, no, like they give you happiness. Maybe you could give it in a bouquet on a birthday or some occasion like that. But some of those colors are so light and subtle that they can be used for a prayer or some grieving thing. So I thought that the carnations, see, if you see generally roses are associated with love, okay, and those sort of feelings. But the carnations, I thought, are an ideal sort of flower which will depict all emotions. So that this collection of short stories is the book actually, A Canopy of Carnations. Each story gives out different emotion. Okay, some are conveying jealousy, some love, some hatred. So different varieties. So immediately I thought of that. And then a bouquet, I wouldn't think. I wanted something that will cover the whole thing. So I thought a canopy will be ideal. So I wanted to give that unique name to that. That's it.
So it's the book is completely. I read all the stories, the book entirely, and to my surprise, I finished the book in say 1.5 hours.
Yeah,
So
it's a light.
yeah, it's a nice story, and it really refreshed my mind. That day I had a very busy schedule, and I was not sure that whether I will be able to complete the book or not, but I wanted to read somehow. But when I started reading from the first page onwards, I was completely engrossed in the stories. Thank you so much, ma'am, for the book. Okay, so when I was reading your bio, I came to know that you are a doctorate in mathematics.
Yeah.
So completely this genre is completely different from what you have studied or what you are pursuing, what you are doing right now. So why and how did you choose to write the books?
See, I thought of literature as a hobby. Initially, I should thank my school for that. We were reading a lot. So we didn't have any other diversions when I was in school. We didn't have a mobile or even the TV was very restricted. So the only hobby which we used to have, see, I was not somebody who do a lot of physical activity or run outside. And the place I stayed also was like that. It was a very cold place. I lived in Kunur. So you could, it was not easy to just walk around and play there. You would not, the climate was not very good that time. So indoor, what I used to do is I used to read books, and we had a big library in school. So we used to borrow books, and the teachers also used to encourage us to read. So that's how I started reading. But when I started reading, I wanted to write also. So this writing came into when I was in school for a long time. Okay. So at the time when I finished, almost when I came to stage where I should choose my career, say choose my group in 11th, I was torn between literature and maths. Maths I was not really fond of, but then by the 10th, I don't know, there was some sort of affection I had for maths. But literature definitely was my first love, and I wanted to continue with that. But I was like, what sort of a job I would get in that field. We didn't have a lot of arenas there at that time. You don't have so many courses to choose from, or you don't have. See, there was no internet and all that to check and find out where we'll really use it. So a job meant you have to go somewhere virtually, not virtually. You must go there, be present, and do something. So I was a little worried about actually the job prospects of taking literature, and I thought the maximum you can become a lecturer. I didn't think in terms of how you to grow with that. But that was one actually major decision. But then by 11th and 12th, I started liking maths and I enjoyed doing it. And see, everybody will have some aim. So I wanted to see how maths, the way it was taught in certain classes, actually affected me. It was not taught well, I thought. So I wanted to teach maths in a way that children started liking it. So that is how I entered into maths and then just entered and continued. So in between, I took a big gap. I was only reading. I was not writing, or I wrote, but I didn't think of publishing it. So later on, when I started settling down in my job, and then, I stopped working formally and I started my own tuition center, I got that real time to invest again in books and writing and publishing, and I came back. So always these things have been like twins for me, the maths and literature. So I could not differentiate like this is better than the other. So I didn't know how, but then maths is as good as literature, or literature and maths. I never found the difference between arts and science. That is the thing.
But anyways, we are thankful to whatever happened, to all those chains of thoughts and experiences, everything, whatever happened, and we got these books. So my next question to you is, in Contrived Connections, is the character of Soumya the closest to your heart?
No, I wouldn't take Soumya's character as closest to my heart. Maybe Shivagami, I would think. But then, see, Shivagami is also closest to my heart, but I wouldn't say I want to be like her. I think she should have been more bold and to take decisions for herself than thinking always of others. So that is what I feel. But for a woman who grew under those circumstances, maybe. So my another character there who I liked very much was Abhirami's mother. So even though she has a very small role to play, her character is very good. See, she stayed in a village, she's seen only those things, but she was able to take one step forward, come what may, and do something for her, something better for her daughter. So these women characters definitely have touched my heart in almost all my creations. And especially I would like to relate more to Shivagami and Abhirami's mother than with Soumya's character.
Yes. Her character was very strong. The decisions which she took, which you're talking about, that you watched, like the character is very, so the decisions and everything was a minor character though, but was very strong character.
Yeah.
What came to your mind when you were designing Sharan's character?
See, usually what happens is when we have a story where the heroine takes the main place, the hero becomes a dummy.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to do that. So there should be some contribution from Sharan's side also into Shivagami's life. So see, whatever physically maybe we can manage, but emotionally everybody needs somebody to connect with them or to have some support. So we want to know that there is somebody on our side. Otherwise, it may not be very comfortable for us. So I wanted to introduce the character of Sharan, who's just fun-loving, but at the same time, someone who's very reluctant to open his heart out and speak what he says.
Yes.
So that
yes.
That is what, and he should be a perfect support system in the sense, like you said, Shivakami is mentally strong. So I wanted to design Sharan's character in such a way that he would complement her character.
Uh, okay, ma'am. So one question I have in my mind that as we are literature students, you are also one of those. And so everyone likes to write something or to publish something in their lives. Like they are very fascinated by the books or poems. I too write poems. I too recite poems. So is there anything that students or whoever are fascinated by literature should keep in mind whenever they are writing something?
Definitely. See, every book is a learning. So from the first book till the last book, I have learned quite a lot of things. See, like everybody has their own style of writing. So sometimes I have been told that my work is too descriptive. Some of the things I describe too much. So more than story, there is a literature value only in that. So see that basic ideas we cannot change.
Yes.
Okay, so there everybody has their own style of writing, their way of writing. So we must never compromise our style of writing or what we feel from inside, because that will affect the way we portray things. It will definitely not come out well. So while we keep that fixed, we should always be open to suggestions. So when you first is you have to put down what you think and be ready to make corrections. And what I would suggest is, see, for me, what works out is, see, for some people it may work out, for some it may not. I don't plan a story, make a plot and write. So the plot runs in my mind throughout. So as I'm doing some other work, this thing will always be in my mind. So when you are emotionally attached to your story like that, story will automatically build. Then of course you can give a few chapters to some person who's really been writing for a long time and get it corrected. You can ask the friends for suggestions. So those things are there. There are so many courses nowadays in which you can improve your writing skills. But basically, grammatical errors, spelling errors, and things like some common errors, those sort of things we should definitely avoid. So that the reader also is not even though your story may be great, your way of writing it may be great, if there are so many errors, it will not work out. So we should first aim at an error-free book, and it should come straight from your heart. So once you do that, half your work is done. Of course, we should be open to suggestions, but firm on certain things. Sometimes some of my characters, they will be like this, whether they appear to be good or not. So certain things we can stick to ourselves. Only then our work will be unique. So that is what
Yeah,
I
thank
would
you.
like to suggest.
So you rightly said, ma'am, that you should always write straight from your heart. Nowadays, what has happened that in order to insert jargons or to insert big words, big vocabularies,
Yeah.
people are people are losing the essence of writing. Like what they want to portray or what they want to say, actually they are not doing that. But in order to show or to portray the world that I know this word,
Mm.
even if he or she doesn't know that word, he's trying to show or he's trying to write those words. So this should be ignored, or this should be corrected there. Then only you can relate to the audience. As in your stories, what I felt that I could connect to all the stories, the characters, as you were saying about Sharan's character, or you're talking about Soumya's character. So as you said just now, and when I was reading, I also felt the same, that yes, not very bold character, but yes, they know how to take decisions. So this we can say see in our lives also. There are people who are in our lives that they don't play a major role in our life, but some or the other way we rely upon them, that yes, what to do, what not to do, or they are good at taking or making good decisions, strong decisions. So this is a very good thing. Okay, ma'am. So my last question to you is, but after that we'll definitely talk. I want to talk a lot about all your books. I really loved all of them. So, ma'am, do you think more strong women characters should be there in novels or any storybook?
See, again, I said that is your style of writing. So I definitely would not think of a story without a strong woman character. Okay.
Correct.
So that is that my story will feel incomplete if I don't have a strong woman. So it is not necessary that every story should have a strong woman character. But I think that every story should give some learning instead of just reading it and going away. No, I see. I'm not saying like words. Like you said, if you are going to put in a few one or two difficult words, it's okay. From the context, you can understand the meaning and maybe you will learn a word. But if you're going to make it full of jargons and tough words, then we can't use a dictionary. The flow will be lost.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
so like that, learning in the sense, I mean, like, it may give you hope. You'll give you an idea, like whatever comes, we can face it. So when we give those sort of feelings, we have to introduce a strong character. So definitely some strong character or some lesson or some message when we convey, there we may have to use it. And the reason why I use strong women characters is I want to express how strong women really are. See, whatever we say that women have got equality with men now and all those things, that is all in the paper only. It doesn't practically work out. It is not like that always. Especially down in the south, you can make out that difference a lot. And see, it is not a matter like the men are treating the women like that. The women themselves are not aware of their own strengths. So
Yes.
since my aim is to bring that out, even I have a podcast, there also my message is the same: how to bring yourself out, how to bring your strength out. So that is why I always have strong women characters in my story, but of course it is not necessary.
Yes, you have said right that men are not treating them like that nowadays. They have understood also, but yes, women are, the feeling is internalized, I think, that that conditioning which has been done from the
Right.
initial level, from the initial age, that
Stereotype. So if you want to make a good name, you want to be a good person in a family, there are some rules which are laid
yes,
out, and you're expected to follow that, even if it means you have to be treated like a doormat. So
yes,
that, and if you see any serials nowadays, always the who's the one who covers herself, falls on everybody's feet, eats the last, eats the least without complaints. See, I think that idea should go. So that definitely has to change. See, it is. And women should be the first to stop accepting that. So that I would feel. Of course, there are a lot of changes compared to the previous years, but still, there are, like you said, stereotypes that
hmm.
this is how women are. So I feel that should change a lot.
So ma'am, there are three books which you have written, and do you like, are you planning of writing more such books, or you want to change your genre, or what? Tell me, could you please tell your future plans about the books?
The next, my plan is to go for a collection of short stories, because whatever it is, a novel or a novelette, I have always been happy writing short stories, because we are able to go through a lot of emotions, a lot of different ideas we are able to convey through short stories. And then for light readers, I think since many of them are light readers now, very few of them are like, voracious readers who
Hmm.
can finish a whole volume in a few minutes. So I would like to go with short stories always. So that is in my idea. And then the second thing is this Behind the Golden Bars of Freedom. I have plans to start it as a series of a school series. So the first book is out, so I should plan to do the second book because I've got good feedback from children who are reading it, especially. Those two are my next ideas, but I have not really started working on it as.
Okay. So talking about the Behind the Golden Bars of Freedom, the cover page which I saw was very eye-catching and very colorful. Um, Not like your other books, like Contrived Connections and Academic Explanations. So what was the motive behind that?
See, this I always say in an interview. We all have mentors. So
Hmm.
I'm talking about an author. Her name is this is Nirmala Pillai. She is an administrative service person, IAS. So
Okay.
actually she's an artist also, and she does a lot of paintings, and she exhibits her paintings and sells them. So she used to give me a lot of input. So I told, we should always learn something. So she was one person from whom I learned a lot. She was the one who gave me the color scheme for this. And she was the one who gave me a rough sketch of how I can give this cover. So 90% the credit goes to her only for giving me the idea for this book. So I really thank her, and she's really done it well. I have got a lot of positive comments about the color and the picture of that book.
Yes, yes, yes. That is the first thing. Even if we say that we should not judge a book by its cover, but most of us buy books by seeing the cover, the hardcover, whatever it is. And yes, the work has been done very nicely. The inside, everything, the words, how you have portrayed the words, how you have written in a lucid manner, that is commendable. So more, I want to say more and more and more, but the words will not suffice, I know. So, ma'am, one thing I want to ask, that there are three books, and there are many characters in all those three books. So while writing, what, like, which character or which character you think that I have put my whole soul and heart in that, making, designing the character?
That that would be a very difficult question. So because at least the novels and this behind the golden bars, I can make up some ideas. But about the short stories, there are a lot of characters who I really have worked upon. So one character who I really, put in some effort was Tulasi in that Sindhu story. So that, and Shivagami also, I have really thought from, if I was Shivagami, what I would do. So that is another character, and maybe in behind the golden bars of freedom, I put in a lot of thought to the character of the teachers there. See, if you see there is a sister called Jacinta. There is a teacher. There's another person. See, most of these people, no, I would like to say, all of them I have named after my own teachers. Of course, the characters are not like what my teachers had, but in memory of them. So whenever I used to craft all those characters, really I used to think about all of them. So there are quite a few of the characters who I really have put a lot of effort into, like Sister Jacinta here, Mother Jacinta, I used to call her. So these characters I have really worked in for all the three books.
Yes, even if you have very less to name, but we can see, we as readers can see that you have put a lot of effort in to write or design all the characters. So, ma'am, I must say that all your books are perfect in every corner, in everything which you have written there is perfect. But yes, we, like, you can only know that where you fall short, or if, like, you can only, after reading the books after it got published, you can say that yes, I could have worked better there, or these were my shortcomings, or like this, anything, so that from your shortcomings our readers are we can learn something, that yes, you have also failed there, so we can work upon those areas.
I have felt so, but then see, like it depends on the story, I suppose. See,
Yes,
contrived connections, I have received lot of praises for the the descriptions.
correct.
So the description of the place, virtually, the people used to say that we could almost visualize the village. But
Hmm.
the same descriptions when I gave in behind the golden bars, people wanted the story to move on fast. So they thought it was too descriptive about the thing. So one day in the life of Dorothy takes so long.
Hmm.
So these
Hmm.
are the things. So basically, certain things I should know. What I have understood is in which story the description I should give more importance, and which stories I should not put in a lot of description but move on fast with the stories. And I believe that the first few pages are also very important. So what makes the reader actually turn the pages faster is the first few pages. So the first few pages have to be more of action than description, or it should trigger a curiosity for us to go on to the next page. So these things I have learned we should definitely do. So maybe in the next books I should concentrate on that. And the next thing, what like you said, is the cover.
Hmm.
So the cover, what I feel is a very beautiful cover. I like dark colors, may not be a general, it may not actually be attractive as a book.
Hmm.
So those sort of things maybe I have always felt I should improvise upon.
But even if, like, you being such a good writer, author, you feel that yes, you should improve upon these things, and we are the budding readers, budding writers, so we have to work more, we have to work harder. So, ma'am, you said that the tribe connections, the imagery which you have portrayed is very descriptive and very nice. So I felt the same. But when you said about behind the golden bars, that the readers said you got feedback that you should have written more. Like, we wanted to read fastly, but I felt the opposite. I felt the opposite there. That when I was reading Contrived Connections, I felt that yes, imageries are very beautiful. I could really see all the villages, all the things, village life. I went there to the rural areas. But when I read the Behind the Golden Bars of Freedom, I wanted to read more and more. I was just wondering that why ma'am is not giving more imageries here. I want to read more. I was completely indulged in the story. I was completely engrossed in the story. I wanted to I like the place in South, if we see all the villages out there, they are beautiful and everybody wants to go there. So I'll just say that relived that those areas there. So
Right.
it was fabulous. So any last comment if you want to make, ma'am? Any message?
My message is always the same, which I say two things. One is whenever there is whatever problem may be, there is always a hope. There's definitely something we can do. So you mustn't hope for the solution to come. We should stand up and find some solution. So there is no use sitting and waiting for things to happen. So that's the first thing I would like to say. And second thing I would like to say, it's to all women especially, it's high time you realized your potential. Start reading books or empowering yourself in some way so that tomorrow you'll be proud of yourself and you will have your own identity. So these are the two messages which I want to convey to readers and all those who are watching, uh, and to all youngsters like you also.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your time and effort. We all know that you are very busy, and after a tight schedule, also you took time and effort to connect and to say these many things to all of us. These totally enlightened us. So I wish you all the very best for your success and your future writing and for your journey, what you want to achieve, what you want to write more and more, or your short stories. I really wish you all the best.
Thank you, Srishti. I also had a nice time talking to you, and you were giving me a lot of chance to express many of the things I wanted to say. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.